It's day 2, Bank Holiday Monday, and I was able to produce an outline, 3 points to summarize the passage I'll be speaking on this weekend on Acts chapter 27. Now, if you remember yesterday, I said the big idea from Acts chapter 27, at least what I got out of it was that God saved everyone, not just Paul, but because of Paul, God saved everyone on that ship. And so what I did today was just go through the passage a few times, try to read it, try to distill it, try to come up with 3 headings, 3 summaries to kind of walk us through the passage to reach that conclusion that God saved everyone because of Paul. And so the first point is this, point number 1. Everyone's on board except for Paul. Everyone's in agreement. Verse 12 says the majority decides they're going to sail on except for Paul, who says in verse 10, bad idea. This is going to end in disaster. Everyone's going to die. But everyone else, thinks that it's a good idea. And so they carry on. So that's point 1. But point 2, everyone gets into trouble, including Paul. The northeaster, this storm hits them and they get swept along the island. They lose control. They start chucking stuff outside of the ship, the cargo, the tackle. And verse 20 is so interesting because it says, we finally gave up hope, all hope of ever being saved. And the interesting word there is the word we. Luke, the author, is with Paul on the boat, and he says, we, me included with them, thought that we're going to die. And possibly even Paul thought this, that Paul was going to die on that ship in that storm. And, that's point 2. Everyone gets into trouble, including Paul. And they're all in the same boat. But finally, point 3, it's kind of like the topic sentence. My point 3 is that everyone gets saved because of Paul. And what does Paul do? He's in trouble. He knows he's going to die. He prays. He prays to God. And God says to him, God has given you the lives of everyone on the ship. Now, this is such a contrast to everyone else on the boat, because the sailors, they try to save themselves. They try to steal the lifeboat to save themselves. The soldiers in verse 42 try to execute all the prisoners. But what happens? The centurion, Julius, steps in. He says, I'm going to save all the prisoners just so that I can save Paul. And that then becomes a picture of how God saves everyone on the ship because he wants to save Paul. Everyone gets saved because of Paul. So those are my 3 points. Number 1, everyone's in agreement. Everyone's on board except for Paul. Number 2, everyone gets into trouble, including Paul. But finally, everyone gets saved because of Paul. Now, I just want to say that this is not an argument for universalism. Not all of them become Christians. But the argument here is that everyone needs salvation. Everyone needs God. Whether they know it, whether they realize it, whether they want it or not. Everyone needs salvation. And Paul is the kind of guy who wants to get everyone across the finish line. So that's day 2. Those are my 3 points. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.